Hey, good day, everyone. I'm your host, Paul Lawrence Vann, and of course, our host, Wealth Academy podcast. And our mantra is wealth is more than just money. Hey, I hope everyone is doing great. It's the last day of February, and what a month it has been. It's been a really great month for me, and I hope the same for you. What I'm going to talk about today, which is a very important topic, is one of living a debt free lifestyle. So you're wondering, Paul, exactly how do we do that? Hey, I'm glad that you asked because it's possible to live debt free. It doesn't mean that we're not spending money. It doesn't mean that we're not saving money. It doesn't mean that we can't purchase things that require us to go into debt, personal loans and different things, credit cards, different things such as this. But it's possible to live debt free. And I'm going to provide a few examples how that we can do things to avoid living debt free. And what we want to do is position ourselves. First, we need to get in the right frame of mind. I know perhaps through life, there may be some of us who had scarcity mindsets before. And scarcity mindset is that when we were growing up, our parents may not have had that much money to give us for the things that we wanted. Or they may have told us things such as this: Child, I don't have no money to give you. Get a job. That's what I'm telling my children today. Get a job. But some of the things that we want to do is if we want to ever live the life that we really hope and dreamed of living, we have to prevent ourselves from going into so much debt that we can't enjoy ourselves, because we know that debt causes a lot of stress, a lot of pressure in life, and it means we have to work longer. So we have to put a strategy, saving strategy in place, and this will help us as well. But I can remember when I was preparing to go to college, my parents couldn't afford to send me because they had 9 other children. And I had about $300 that my relatives had given me, those who had visited from New York and other states, and there in North Carolina where I lived at that time. And so I had about $300 as I was preparing to go to college. And I had a couple of choices. I could either wait to go to college, work and wait to go to college, paying my way, or I could go and find a way. So proud of going, I found a way so that I would live debt free once I graduated. And so I ended up working as an electrician. And so if you ask me, hey, Paul, did you ever go to school to be an electrician? No, I didn't. But we had a family member that owned a business, and he hired me on as an apprentice. And I'm going to tell you, it was shocking to say the least. He would have me go in and fix something in the person's house. He'd be with me, and I have to take the item off the wall and replace it with a new one. And I would put my hand in there. Every time I'd get shocked. So when I'm walking around campus after I finish my 2 to 3 hour gig, I would be touching a door and I would get shocked. I'll be touching a door to the car, get shocked. And so I learned from then on that I need to do something that's not going to require me to get shocked anymore in my life. And so as a part of that, it's helping me to live debt free even to this day. So living debt free is a goal that a lot of people have, but it's not an easy one by any stretch of the imagination. And that's why we're finding so many people who are living paycheck to paycheck. In fact, for me, this year marks my 20th year of retirement from the United States Air Force. So I receive a pension and I own a business. I'm an entrepreneur. So I can work on my own terms when I want to. And I've had a house even before I retired. I actually had two houses and I sold one of them. And I took the money from that one and I started investing in my business, and speaking is how I got started. And so I'm letting you know that it's possible to live debt free. And in fact, one of the things to steer clear of debt, you can make a mistake pretty quickly by seeing a new car through all the advertising we see. Your neighbors have something, you want to go out and purchase the same thing. And I would say to you, don't do that because you don't know how much they're suffering with all that stress. And I know my neighbors, they have children in college, so that tuition alone is enough to scare you. And so today, nowadays, we almost find ourselves in a bit of debt because the price of things have gone up. And it's not just because of inflation, it's because that's just a normal flow of things that happen as we age more. And so we want to avoid debt altogether. And one of the things that I'm going to talk about right now is in terms of debt is to kind of skimp on your savings. In other words, paying off the money that you owe at the expense of putting money aside in savings or retirement account. It's not a plan, if you will, not at least not a long-term strategy. And so we want to ensure that we don't take away from the money that we save for the long term by finding some measure of satisfaction in the short term. In other words, overspending, going into too much debt. And so one of the things we want to do is put together a debt plan. And I know I've spoken about debt plans and money goals and different things of that in the past, but one of the things we want to do is put together a debt plan. And so it may take a little bit longer to pay off your debt. And so by putting off saving money, you are actually going to lose money because of compound interest over time. And so if you look at it from just 1 year, you won't necessarily see that compound interest working. But if you look at 5 years, 10 years, 15 and 20, you will see it. So don't skip on your savings as a result of the debt that you have. So put together a debt plan so that you can get that debt behind you and you can move forward. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I've done that. Okay. So if nothing else, you want your savings account to keep you out of debt. And so we need to the savings to pay for all of the unexpected expenses that we have along our money journey. So we don't want to add any debt to our debt plan. And we want to be able to stay the course and move gradually on our money journey. And so what I find is a lot of things are very tempting nowadays. You might see people taking nice exotic trips, or they may be purchasing a handbag or expensive pair of shoes or a nice suit, expensive suit, but that suit at some point is going to deteriorate. That bag is going to deteriorate. That trip that you're taking, spending thousands of dollars, you can have some pictures from it, but you won't be able to get that money back. And so one of the things I'm looking at is trying to find maybe something closer to home as opposed when we're traveling, as opposed to going somewhere where we're spending all of our money. It feels good at the time, but when you have to come back and pay for it, that's a whole other ballgame. And then another thing when it comes to being debt free is the giving up on investing. This is something that you don't want to do. You want to continue investing because you want to grow that money that you have. And it's so important to do that. And all too often, too many people focus on not getting themselves into debt or more debt and forget about building wealth. So we want to stay on that path of making our money grow for us. Money, in fact, expects us to grow it and it positions us to grow it. And who are we to tell money what to do? So when your primary goal of living debt free is ambitious and tied to a vision for your freedom, it can be easy to get tunnel vision. So build up a nice diversified investment portfolio and put that into your financial plan. So we have at first, it's the debt plan, then we want to have the financial plan. We also want to do something I believe is very, very important, and that is to get rid of the credit cards. Now, let me preface this by saying that if you have a credit card and it has, let's say, $5,000 on it, don't turn that credit card in. Just put it away, put it in a safe deposit box, or don't use it unless there is an emergency, because that's the quickest way to get into more debt and it takes longer to pay it off. So what I recommend you do is to kind of not use those credit cards. Keep them, because if you turn the credit card back in, it would not only hurt your credit rating, but it also, when you decide, oh, I need a credit card, you go back to get it, it's going to be tougher to get that card, especially from that bank card company that you're working with. And we have to, of course, use credit cards responsibly, because if we don't, we'll be paying the price literally over time. So ditching the credit card means put it away, stay away from it. If you get within 5 feet of it, run. Another thing to consider is neglecting insurance. I don't advocate for not having insurance. I think we should all have insurance, but we need to have the proper balance for it. For example, on an automobile, on a house, on life insurance with a death benefit, for example, a whole life policy. And so I think that one of the things to do is just find the type or an agent that you may know or get referred to, and they can do a reasonably good job, or do some self-study and acquire some self-knowledge about insurance to see if you can get the best policy for you. I know right now with COVID-19 being what it is, it's great to have that health insurance. So you don't want to get rid of that. You need, if you don't have a car, then good. You don't have an automobile insurance like I do. And then you want to, I actually do have automobile insurance, but it's only because I have a car. If I didn't have a car, I wouldn't have it. And then on your house, you want windstorm damage, those type of things. So you have to get that right balance. And it can be expensive depending on what your credit rating is and what your experience has been. If you had a lot of car accidents, your car insurance is going to be more expensive. If you have some issues at your house, likewise, the same thing happens. If you have windstorm damage, like I had at one of my houses in Texas, where one of the hurricanes came through and it created $10,000 worth of debt that I had to pay because I was leasing that house out. And because I was leasing it out, I could not get the benefit of the insurance from the people who live there locally. And then another one is overspending. Now, this one everyone can control, including me. And so we want to ensure that we don't do a lot of what we would call sporadic shopping, or you go out for one thing, you come back with 10, or you're purchasing something you really can't afford, but you just don't want to let it get away. And so that's that scarcity aspect. So we want to take that abundance perspective of saying, will I do better by saving this money and investing, or will I do better by purchasing this item, get tired of it, and no longer want it? And then so we don't want to overspend. Then the last thing I want to talk about is creating and sticking to a budget, which is something that's pretty tough for some people to do. In other words, people just say, hey, I want to spend the money the way I want to spend it. I'm not going to take it with me when I'm dead. Well, we all know that, but you also want to be able to enjoy your life in your golden years, if you will, so that you will have some money that you can spend and you won't get kicked out of your house, or you won't get a bad deal and somebody come and take that house from under you. I have a friend in New York, and he's working right now advocating for more of the elderly people who purchase brownstones in the Brooklyn area. And people coming in, lawyers are coming in, they're just taking these houses from them. They're assuming they're getting a lot of money for that house, when the house in essence is worth millions of dollars. And yet they don't really understand it, and they're not telling their family members before they end up selling the house, and investors come in and just clean their clock, if you will, basically stealing the house from them, even though the people don't know it's happening to them. So we want to look out for our elderly, for scams like that, and all will be well. So this is primarily what I wanted to talk about today: how to live debt-free. And living debt-free means that you're living life on your own terms. You're not trying to keep up with the Joneses, but you have your very own lifestyle that you love, and you don't have to prove anything to anyone, and you can just live your life, and you can live it comfortably without it being a burden to your children or to your grandparents or your parents. You want to be able to live the kind of lifestyle that really gives you the best quality of life possible. So again, thank you so much for listening today. I'll see you on the next broadcast. I'll have another one coming up probably tomorrow, but go out there to wealthacademypodcast.com and see those episodes. Have a great day, everyone, and take good care and enjoy your day. And goodbye.